Hello everyone, welcome to this topic. So in this week we will discuss digital diaspora, negotiating identity, connectivity, and community in the digital age. So before going into to this topic, I just want to highlight what we have discussed last week. So last week we discussed try to understand the intersection of media, mobility, and migrations, and how the emergence of digital migration studies um, has been focusing on the complexity and median mobility and the cross-border connections from more interdisciplinary perspective. And also we try to understand some key concept like trust, data privacy, and specifically the techno-colonialism, how we can explore the concept of techno-colonialism from more humanitarian, digital humanitarian perspective. We try to unpack the concept of digital humanitarianism and from using the three interrelated concepts of trust, data privacy, and technocolonialism. I hope you found this topic useful in order to critically examine how the migrant people use different social media platforms or technology, at the same time how it may create a critical discussion for surveillance, data privacy, and some colonial issues that can be useful to understand the digital technology not only empower but also it creates some exclusions and discriminations within the marginalized community. So in this week, we will talk about some other interrelated concept, which is called the diaspora and digital diaspora, and try to understand how social and digital media have shaped the transnational connectivity and diasporic identities and experience about the home, connectivity, and citizenships. And finally, we will try to focus on assessment 3, which is in-class tests. All right, so as we said, last week we talked about the digital migration. So it's a more interrelated concept, which is called diaspora or digital diaspora. So diaspora is it's a group of people who spread from one original country to another countries as an act of spreading in this way. It comes from the Cambridge Dictionary. You can find quite similar other definition like the dispersion or spread of people from their original homeland, voluntarily or as a result of fleeing aggressions, persecutions, or extreme hardship. So, and also you can see here to recognize the broader and complex aspect of sociocultural, political, and historical affiliation to retain a collective memory of their homeland and traumatic sufferings or collective solidarity. So, based on this definition, we can see here there is some key aspect. One is it can be related to displacement, forced migrations, they become refugee, become stateless, etc. So one of the key things is they have been uprooted or displaced from their own homeland, but at the same time they want to go back and they want to retain a collective memory and connect in their homelands. And as long as they cannot go back, but still they are strongly connected to their homeland through their transnational connectivity. For example, the transnational activism or advocacy, or they're advocating for the social justice in order to retain or get back to their citizenship status, or they want to go back their home, or just simply they're living in a third countries or in a different countries, but still they are still connected to their homeland through their activism, through their cultural and political activism while living in a foreign countries. So here I just want to show some criteria how we can define or what are the key criteria can be useful to define diaspora. So for example, you can see here, so some primarily identified based on the scholars Safran and many other scholars who have been working on the diaspora. So for example, dispersal from a homeland or to multiple countries. So they can be dispersed or they can be forced to leave, or they can just coming from the specific country and then getting scattered into a different other countries, or a shared vision, memory, or mythical connection to their homeland, or a group of community which are not be fully accepted by their home country. On the hope of an eventual return to their homeland under favorable conditions, a commitment of maintaining social and political support for their homeland. So again, these are the some key criteria. So for example, someone just left their country for a long time ago, but still he or she maintains a strong connection with their homeland through sending remittance, sending money to their left behind family members, or also connecting with their family members or relatives who are through political and cultural activism. And also someone might be forcibly displaced, and because he cannot return, he's living in exile or he's living in a political shelter in different countries, but he wants to return home, and we're waiting for the safety or the favorable conditions, right? And it can be as a commitment to maintaining social and political support to the homeland. So you can see here from these dynamics or criteria. So the migrant and diaspora, it has some a bit significant difference. So for the migrants, just people who are living in different countries, who are, but on the other hand, diaspora who are the same, that's quite similar to migrant, but still they maintain a kind of a strong relationship. They want to go back home, or they through the socio-cultural and the political activism, they have been actively participating in this sort of advocacy or social justice program in order to get back to their home, or regarding their home, about social justice, about human rights, or about the political struggle, whatever. But again, it's a connecting with the homeland. So the level of connection and the level of intimacy or the collective memory of solidarity, it defines what diaspora makes. Okay? And then we will try to unpack some key concepts regarding diaspora, which is called digital diaspora, identity, activism, and citizenship. So the digital media create a virtual space where diasporic and migrant communities sustain ties to their homeland by cultivating collective identities, negotiating citizenship, and engaging in transnational politics. So due to the social media platforms, digital technologies that help the diaspora community or migrant community in order to get connected with their homeland, right, through social media activism or transnational politics, etc. So you can see here there is some key scholarship on digital diaspora related to the identity and activism and citizenship. So you can have a look if you really want to know more about how diaspora works in order to get connected with their homeland through negotiating citizenship and transnational identity and politics. So you can see here there are some other examples that can be relevant to our everyday life. So if you are a migrant or if you are foreign students studying here in Malaysia, so you can also relate or reflect on yourself. So we need to maintain our family communications. If communication is no longer solely physical locations, but also a digitally space of belonging and memory. So we need to we maintain our everyday communication with our family members through WhatsApp family group, or which is called the mediated care. We need to take care of our left behind family, our elderly people or parents, who is also the part of the diasporic digital diasporic communications or identity. And also we can see here the virtual home or virtual communities, the local networks that transit the traditional geographic boundaries. For example, some professional diasporic group online, so you will find some group based on a specific country in order to enhance your skill. Or intergenerational connection like blog, website, etc. based on your country. It could be political or just information based, or anything that tell about your own country. And also the cultural entertainment group on Facebook or any other social media platforms, or the virtual religious services. And also we can see here, which is called digital citizenship. So online political engagement influence both host and origin countries. So for example, diaspora voting initiative. So people who are living in different countries, they cannot vote during the election in their homeland. So maybe they can exercise their voting rights while living in a different countries. And also transnational advocacy like get engaged with the social media activism in order to in order to demand for social justice in their home countries. Okay, so these are the some basic criteria of digital basic functions or about the digital diaspora. So based on this, I just would like to highlight or ask you to reflect on this some primary aspect. For example, being a migrant student in Malaysia, reflect on how you see digital media in your everyday life. So, for example, you need to, as long as you are living far away from your home country, how do you maintain your cultural ties? For examples. So, how do you use social media platforms to stay connected with your friends, with the culture, tradition, and your homeland? Or how do you build your transnational network? In what ways do you connect with other from your community across the different countries? Or how does this shape your sense of belonging? So, for example, you are living in Malaysia, it doesn't mean that you are connecting your community members based in Malaysia, also in many other parts of the world. So, and how it shapes your sense of belonging while you are staying far away from your home country. And then, as I said, family communication has become one of the influential aspects of digital diaspora. They need to maintain a sustained relationship with the family members through social media platforms like messaging apps. And finally, political activism. So, how have you been engaged with any political conversations or dialogue and campaign or movement online that relates to your homeland or migrant rights? So, what challenges you have faced, or any other opportunity or challenges you want to highlight? So, these are the some aspect that being a diaspora at the same time being a digital diaspora, how we can engage with digital technologies in order to maintain our diasporic identity. Okay. So there is some essential resources. Please have a look on this article and you will find some interesting aspect how we can define digital diaspora from more identity, citizenship, and political perspective, and also how we can define what are the intersecting aspect of mobility, connectivity, and the diaspora. And finally, we will talk about today, this week, assessment 3, which is in-class test. The total value of this test is 40%. So if you're really, this is kind of a new types of assessment. So I think most of you are still confused about it. So please come to the tutorials and we will talk about it. And if you have any questions, or you can ask for any clarification during the tutorials. So all the best and thank you so much for your listening. Hope to see you soon. Bye.